A new age of regulatory and compliance oversight has arrived. Corporations are facing record fines from governments in several jurisdictions. Risk and compliance executives of major companies have responded by reviewing their compliance and risk frameworks to address the present realities, especially on supplier onboarding and third-party relationships. One of the fastest growing tools for supplier onboarding used by major companies is Vend-R by Dun Bradstreet, the only supplier management tool that focuses on supplier base integrity and related data analysis. Using Vend-R, businesses get suppliers verified by Dun Bradstreet, the global business intelligence leader for almost 2 centuries, making Vend-R an indispensable partner that helps major companies protect themselves from risk. For vendors and suppliers, Vend-R offers incredible benefits. Once they register themselves using an easy and transparent process, they are verified as credible suppliers for major companies to do business with. Each vendor gets assigned with their own globally recognized DUNS number, which establishes credibility with companies across the world, allowing you to access international markets. Increase your revenue and access new markets by registering with Vend-R.
Thanks everybody for joining today's webinar. It is a pleasure to have you all here, and I'm really happy you have taken the time to participate in this. My name is Sebastian Sanchez. I am the product manager of D&B Same. I am the responsible of our product portfolio in the South Asia, Middle East and Africa region. I have worked here for nearly 3 years, and prior to that I have done a similar job in Europe for about 11 years. Before we get to the webinar, just let me remind you the housekeeping items that we have developed for participation and safety reasons. All lines are going to be muted by the organizers, but if you have any kind of questions or queries, please use the chat box in your menu settings, and we will come back to you at the shortest possibility. You can also send us any questions to the info@dnbnigeria.com, and after the webinar we are going to be sharing with you all the recording of this session. So let's get on with it. Well, as I was mentioning earlier, my name is Sebastian Sanchez. I have in total about 15 years of experience managing business information products, both in the South Asia, Middle East and Africa region, and also in Europe. Mr. Kayode, he's our external speaker. He's the Group Sales and Operations Planning Manager for Flour Mills of Nigeria. And before taking this role, he has worked for companies like Kraft Heinz and Suntory Beverages and Food in the supply chain areas. I really hope you find this webinar very interesting and beneficial for your businesses. Now I will hand over to my colleague Nanre. He's the account manager at D&B Nigeria, so he can take on from this point onwards. Nanre, all to you now.
Thank you, Sebastian, for that brief intro. And once again, I'd like to say welcome to everyone joining us from all around the world. I can see names from practically every part of the world, and most especially to our Nigerian participants. I say a very big welcome to you, and for taking our time to invest in your business. So briefly, I'll just be running us through, just giving us a very brief summary of Dun Bradstreet, what we've been able to achieve globally, and what we're currently doing right here in Nigeria, just for you to know that you are currently at the right place and also at the right time. So Dun Bradstreet is a company that started, it was established in the year 1841 in the United States of America. And I can tell you that over the years, we've expanded to practically every country of the world. Currently, we are ranked #1 on Fortune's list of most admired company, most especially in the financial data services category. And this is not something that we just stumbled upon. It's not just Sherlock, but it's something that we've built. This is a credibility that we've built over the years, right from our humble beginning to where we are at the moment. And I can tell you also that we have over 400 million business records. That means there's practically any company in the world that you may want to get information about that we won't be able to provide. And also we are present in like over 220 countries, and that means we have information on businesses in these countries. And also we also do our business in over 95 languages of the world. So this is just a very brief one. Now, Sebastian, can you just move to the next slide, please? Yes. And we are, like I said earlier, we are the world's largest commercial, when it comes to business intelligence, getting information on any company in the world, we rank up there. And this is a value that we've added to businesses, not just private owned businesses, but also global, even countries like the American government, the EU, UAE, and the likes. They all consult with Dun Bradstreet when trying to make information on about any third-party engagement. You can move to the next slide, please. And over the years, there's a tool that we've used, that we've employed over the years, and that has worked magic, not just for Dun Bradstreet, but also for businesses. It is called the DUNS number. I don't know if I'm sure it's something that we are all familiar with. This is a unique number that we assign to businesses. It is like the social security number in quotes given to businesses. This is a number that stays with any business right from inception, even up to when the business probably goes bankrupt or goes out of existence. This is a number that stays with you. And what does this number do? With a DUNS number, it helps to establish your credibility, and not just when you're dealing with maybe other company, but also when you're trying to deal with the government and also other big conglomerates. It helps to establish your credibility, which is one great thing that it does. It shows that yes, this is a company that truly exists, and it's a company that's okay. This is not a ghost company. So I'll just leave it at that. This is not a session to talk basically about DUNS number, but this is a unique identifier number that we give to companies that helps businesses and also to provide information on any business in the world that you may need. Can you move to the next slide, please? In Dun Bradstreet, our solutions, everything revolves around third-party information. Everything revolves around making businesses grow. And we have just a list of products or services that we render in Africa, South Asia, and also in the Middle East. We have our risk management solutions. We have sales and marketing solutions, just in case you need leads, or you probably need information on other companies that you're probably trying to expand to or expand your services offerings to. Also, we have research and advisory services. Most likely this helps our government institutions basically. Then we also have the risk consultancy services, credit bureau solutions, economic analysis group, and also financial technology solutions. So basically what we'll be talking about today falls under the risk management solution. And this is just to make you know how to avert risk, how to limit the risk that you're being exposed to, either as a client or as a vendor. This is a session that would help to greatly address this. Can you to the next slide, please? So in Nigeria, what have we done so far? We established the first, the CRC, which is a credit bureau, like the biggest credit bureau in Nigeria, in conjunction with other tier 1 banks. And also we implemented risk management and rating models for CBN and other banks also in Nigeria. And over the years also in Nigeria, we conducted a rating exercise for MSMEs on behalf of Smith Bank of Industry and the Nexim Bank. Also, the NIPEX portal that is currently in use by the NNPC was developed, was being revamped by Dun Bradstreet, and currently we help to maintain the system. And also, we help to develop a centralized vendor management portal, which is something we'll be talking about in a bit, for procurement managers. What this means is that it is essential. It is like a warehouse where vendors are being, or where companies are being, where we have information on companies where procurement managers can just go to and get engaged to any business arm in Nigeria. And also currently we are building the largest MSMEs database in Africa in readiness for the full implementation of ACTA. This is something that would also be talked about in the course of this webinar. So can you just go to the next slide while I round up this session? So now the main reason why we are here, we are all leaders in our own rights, and we all have like a similar challenge that we all face, or similar aim or goal that we all aim to attain. Number one is to accelerate our revenue, to reduce our costs, to manage risk, and also to transform our business. I believe I'm right on this point, and if I'm not, you can just signify, but I'm sure that this is something, it's a similar challenge that we all face. And this is the main reason why we organize this webinar, just to help businesses get more value and also to attain growth. So at this point, I say welcome once again, and I can assure you that by the end of this webinar, you will be able to eat your chest and say, thank God I attended this webinar, because it will greatly impact my business positively. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Landry. I think now we can let our outdoor speaker speak. Mr. Kayode, please. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, welcome to this webinar series. And I want to say thank you to the Dun Bradstreet team for inviting me to speak at this event. Just very briefly, I'll be touching point on the copy buying process, and I'll be specifically looking into, of course, what are the key things that most copy buyers or procurement managers or procurement professionals look out for when they try to, of course, to engage or onboard suppliers to support their businesses. So the slides you're looking at is a slide that gives a summary of the entire process for buying in a corporate setting. So you go through the process of first identify what your needs are, what are the issues you have in the business, what are the needs, and then of course you do a lot of more research around how can I resolve these issues, how can I, of course, get to supply in terms of if it's materials, how do I get the supply for these items, at what cost, what is the market, do a lot of market research and market survey to understand the context of the market in which you're trying to procure an item or a service for. Then you consider and evaluate as the case may be, and then of course you go through the process of RFP, RFQ, not the likes of RFs that we have to get more information about the service of the product you want to procure. And beyond that, then you do a lot of procurement managers or buyers will then do some internal analysis, considering quite a number of criteria depending on the type of service or the types of goods that are in consideration for procurement. And then based on all those criteria that which may sometimes be business-based, industry-based, or be individual, they of course come up with the decision to go with one supplier or vendor or the other. So this is more like how the process flows, and this is basically one of the models that has been posited by the Murchison and the distinct group. And I think it's very much resonates with what most companies are doing, or if not entirely, but at least most of these steps are the steps that the companies will take in terms of when they want to engage, both suppliers to buy or to procure services and goods. What is very instructive here is the fact that if you look at this and then you think back at if you're buying items or you buy stuff as an individual, you make a purchasing decision, you see similarities between what you would do as an individual from a consumer perspective. However, you also see that there are some differences in terms of the due diligence and the detailed level of work that goes into the decision-making process when you're talking about the copy buying process and of course, the consumer buying processes. And of course, you also find out that we're talking about, in this slide, you see where we have that lever of loyalty repurchase. And the loyalty repurchase bit basically resonates very much with any vendor, any business, any vendor that has that mindset of going his or our own business. You would want to have customers retained, of course, and customer being able to maintain some level of loyalty in terms of coming back to you to buy more of your goods or to, of course, engage more of your services. And to that effect, of course, a lot of work normally would go into you being able to establish that credibility, establish that capacity and all the likes that of course we endear you to the suppliers or endear you to, to the buyers or to the procurement managers or the businesses that you're looking at, into doing business with. Next slide, please. All right, so there are quite a lot of consideration. This is basically talking from an insider perspective, rather. There are quite a lot of considerations that we look at from a supply chain and procurement perspective as professionals, where we're trying to engage suppliers for services and the supply of goods, as the case may be. Well, primarily everybody would think that price is very central or is the number one thing. Yes, I agree with you. Price is very important because you want to buy at the most cost-effective price points. You want to engage vendors that will give you the most optimal and reasonable costs. But then again, when you look at it on the set, when you take a second look at this internally, when we look at it as supply chain professionals, there are a lot of other variables that are also considered that most of the suppliers or vendors do not know about. So it's not all about being competitive on your price points. It's also being able to provide some level of assurance around a whole lot of criteria that's some of which you are looking at this moment. So we have criteria like quality. Can the supply? So we ask questions and then we try to find out answers to these questions. So if I'm looking at tenders, I'm looking at proposals, I'm looking at quotations, I'm looking at evaluating different vendors on the same kind of job or supply contract. I'm looking not just at the price, I'll be looking at the quality of services that each of these vendors can provide, which of the vendors can provide the best quality of service for me. I will look at on-time delivery, which of these vendors will be able to deliver on time and in full as the case may be. I will be looking also at collaboration in terms of, okay, can this vendor be able to collaborate with me into the future if it's going to be on a retainership basis? Will this vendor be able to collaborate with you? And when I'm talking about collaboration, we're talking more about vendors being able to, of course, to wear your shoes and being able to think a bit ahead of time, ahead for you to say, okay, come up with opportunities to improve your cost base or opportunity to improve the quality of your own product as a buyer. So basically looking at technical collaboration, how can we work together to simplify the supply chain, the complexities in the supply chain process, or how can we work together to develop a more agile and quality products. There are instances like that. For instance, you have instances where suppliers have come to us to say, okay, I discovered while going through your production line that you're having this particular bottleneck on your production line, and I think it's coming from the design of your packaging. So how about you take away this particular part of the packaging, and then it reduces your wastages, and then of course taking that away also reduces your cost at which we produce and sell this particular packaging item to you. That is part of collaboration. We also look at payment terms. So because every business, one way or the other, would like to maximize the sources of fund. So we would, most suppliers also, most buyer will also want to look at suppliers in terms of how flexible are their payment terms, which supplier will be able to give me enough time to internalize the deliveries and be able to prepare my cash flow to meet with this demand for payments. So we look at customer service generally, how you'll be able to make me happy in terms of delivery on time, yes, and also being able to respond to my queries or feedbacks around what you do for me. All these, that is you see on the slide are all very essential part of what we look at from an internal perspective when we are evaluating suppliers for businesses or contracts, supply contracts. So we'll touch base, but more importantly, I would like to talk more around the credibility and the risk side of it. So you really want to do a whole lot of what you call is due diligence in terms of knowing if the supplier is really credible. Can you really do business with this vendor? Will this vendor be able to do what it says it will do? Will it not disappoint me? Will it be able to? Will this vendor not expose me to risk that are avoidable, or risk that would make my business to go in a way that is not supposed to go. Let me put it like that. So credibility and risk are very central to assessment that we go through when we go through there. And I think some of the things that Larry has said earlier on in the opening remark also talks to that. So you have that's why you have a company like D&B coming on board to be able to provide some level of support to both to the vendors and to buyers in terms of being able to do a preliminary assessment of credibility, a preliminary assessment of risk management and some other things. And of course, so we also look at other issues like capacity, consistency and stuff like that. So flexibility is also key. So we talk about flexibility in terms of, yes, I do have a requirement that I've communicated to my suppliers, for instance, and then of course there is a sudden need or a sudden surge in my requirement. How flexible is this supplier in being able to, of course, to accommodate my special requests for additional goods and services or for changes in the requirement, as the case may be. Capacity is also important. Some companies who are very big volume buyers would ideally not want to work with small volume vendors. So do you have the capacity and all of those things? So, but also very important is the total cost of ownership. I would like to speak just a bit more around that. So when you're looking at particularly procuring capital investment goods, most of the time, what people don't know how they are as vendors, the fact that we do a whole lot of assessment around what we call the total cost of ownership. And what do I mean? The total cost of ownership talks about what is the total cost for which I am procuring this good or services or this service. And that is not limited to the price we pay at the point of purchase. It also includes all the expenses that comes with the use of the service or the good throughout the life cycle of that service or good. So, and I think most business savvy buyers will do that. So we look at, for instance, if I take an instance of someone buying a car. So when you buy a car, for instance, you don't just look at the brand. You look at the cost of maintenance. You look at the cost of service. You look at and quite a whole lot of other variables. But of course, cost of maintenance is important because you don't want to buy a car that is too costly to maintain, depending on your size of pocket, as the case may be. And because we are buyers, we are procurement specialists, we are supply chain professionals who always want to optimize costs. We're always looking at the end of the day, what is the total cost of ownership for me to buy from the cost of vendor A versus buying from vendor B? And at the end of the day, the one that has the lower cost of ownership and provides the better quality are the ones that we basically would normally go or we will normally attracted to working with. Okay, so these are some of the so many criteria that we look at when we are evaluating suppliers, when we are trying to work, to understand and scope suppliers and see who we can work with in terms of procurement. So we can go to the next slide, please. And of course, like I said earlier on, that list is not exhaustive. There are a lot of criteria that each an individual procurement manager or procurement supply chain professional might look at. Some are personal, some are industry based. But like this slide is showing, there are certain selection criteria, and most of these certain selection criteria are dependent on the kind of purchase category. For instance, if we go by the general norm of classifying your purchase categories. So in category management, in procurement, you can classify your portfolio into different aspects. And I think most businesses work around what you're seeing on the slide: the direct material, the capex, the maintenance, and the services. And I think most those of us that are procurement managers and on this call would, of course, understand, and we would be able to identify with what we are seeing here. So the way I would treat my direct material vendors, it would be different from the way I would treat my capex vendors. These are vendors that I buy plant and machineries and other things, and also will be different from the way I treat my MRO vendors and my services vendor. And of course, in treating them also and selecting them and appointing them, I'll also look at the criteria I will look at might be similar, but there will be differences. For instance, when I'm looking at direct material, I'm looking more around flexibility. I'll look more around the price points of the material because it's basically a volume game. We're looking at customer service on time and in full, being able to deliver on time and in full, and all of those bits. But when I'm looking at CapEx, for instance, I will be looking more closely around the total cost of ownership, cost of maintaining the assets over the lifespan of that asset, availability of spares, availability of technical know-how to support and to provide regular maintenance. If I look at maintenance, repairs, and operation, okay, I also look at something similar to what I would look at in CapEx and in services as well too. There are different criteria. So it depends on the category that I am planning to select vendors for. I would, of course, have to, specifically look at different criteria for this. And of course, how does this relate back to us as vendors, or those of us that are on the call? So it gives you an insider view of how the people you're dealing with, those you're going to talk to close deals or to make businesses are, what their mindset is. And in understanding their mindset and what they are looking at for, it helps you to be able to position yourself to get more deals, to be able to get more businesses, and of course, be able to get that bit of loyalty repurchase, and what we call, the repurchase as the case may be, which in turn, of course, leads into the growth that you're looking for in your businesses. So I think that will basically be all for me. I don't know if I've done justice to this, but if there are any questions towards the end of the seminar or the webinar, we could take some of those questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kayode. I think now, before moving on with the live demo, where you can actually see how does the registration process work, I would like to show you a little bit of what does the vendor platform consist on, and also how you can benefit from it. So I think one of the main challenges that we have observed in the Nigerian market is the lack of company information. This poses an increased difficulty when we deal with customers and suppliers, as there is not enough information to come up with a standardized analytics that help you understanding the risk associated with a particular business partner. Companies need to know certain data about their business partners to have a clear understanding of their likelihood, for example, of going out of business or having your company under some kind of sanctions, for instance. In mature markets, it's a lot easier to come up with this type of analytics because there is plenty of data around the market. But when we come to countries like Nigeria or the entire African region, for that sake, the main problem we find is to find the right data upon which we should base our decision making. This is something that really plays against the local companies, since the difficulties in the decision making processes are translated into longer and less efficient sales cycle, and ultimately it leads to a lower volume of sales. The more information there is available for you, the easier it is to trust your company and lead you to have an easier sales cycle, let's say. This is the reason why Dun Bradstreet have decided to launch the vendor platform. Vendor is basically a self-registration platform that allows companies to be verified by a third party like Dun Bradstreet that is trusted by companies worldwide, and collect information about them that facilitates all these business processes. Vendor captures some business critical information like ownership data, basic financials, details about which kind of products are you offering, the awards that you may have, any company certificates, company documents with critical information as well. All of this information is processed and displayed to our customers. First of all, in the vendor platform, so they can have a more easy, reliable, and up-to-date view of the supplier base or their aspiring vendors. Our customers can also search for alternative suppliers. So when they need some new vendor, they can run a lookup and find potential candidates in a much more easy manner and trust the information that they're seeing. Let's say, for example, if I need a new supplier for whichever product or service, vendor includes a search engine that will allow me to access a list of companies that have been verified already. So this really shortens the path from looking up for a company into turning into an actual supplier. In addition to this, all of this data is stored not only in vendor, but in a global database that is integrated in all our products. This means that if any company in the world needs a product that you sell, your company will be among the search results. By having a complete and reliable set of data, the company becomes more trustworthy to any potential customers, regardless where they are located. If we go to the main targets of, here I say suppliers, it can really apply to almost any companies. I think the main primary target that a company has is always increasing the sales volume in order to obtain a higher profit. For having more sales, it is critical to be trusted by the market, whether it is global or local. This is not an easy task if there is little or no information about you, as no possible business party can really trust a company that they know nothing about, because the risk implied with a company that is absolutely obscure are sometimes too high to assume. So that's why establishing a very solid credibility to the company is so critical to anybody operating in the market. Customer retention is one of the most profitable ways of sustaining a company's growth. When a customer internal policies evolve, as it is the case nowadays, that more and more companies are looking into having a more complex due diligence processes, for example, it is more important that we stay compliant with those policies in order to retain them. And this way we still going to be eligible to work with them. Cross-selling is another very extended strategy. It consists of obviously of selling more products to a particular customer. And this is a really profitable practice since we already have an existing relation with the company. So whenever we are selling one of our products to a particular company, it's always an open door to try to sell them more of our products. So how does being registered in vendor help your company? Well, first of all, I think the most important help we can provide is to help you increasing your sales with them. This is possibly the first benefit that we need to remark in all cases. This is an increase that is not going to happen overnight, I have to say this. But it should be part of a long-term growth strategy. By raising your level of exposure, you are going to be more reachable to potential customers, whether in Nigeria or abroad. Your company data is going to be visible for companies interested in doing businesses using any of Dun Bradstreet's products. And this means that, for example, let's say a UK-based company is looking to expand its business into Africa. So when they look for a potential provider and they are looking for a specific product or some kind of an activity that the company develops, they are going to find you in the list of results. But just being found is not enough right now. Being credible is the other very critical aspect of being included into a database. So your company has to be verified by a trusted third party. It doesn't really matter that what you say about yourself, because you can speak wonders about your own self, obviously. And what you need to have is somebody also, a third party that is trusted by everybody else, to be saying the same story as you. And here is where Dun Bradstreet comes into play, because so many companies trust us that whenever say that look, this company is credible, the information you can see about them is reliable, then those companies are going to trust more your business, and they are going to be more open to dealing with you. Also, as a proof of having been verified, when you register on vendor, your company obtains a DUNS number and a DUNS certificate, so you can prove that your company has been verified and your information is fresh enough for companies to deal with you. Also, this kind of credibility, when you are showing some critical information about yourself, means that your potential business partners can onboard you in a much easy manner, because they have enough information about you to make to be compliant with their due diligence processes. Also, it's important to know that a very global trend right now is the application of transparency policies. So more transparent companies are always in a much better position to find the best business partners for them. This is not something that happens on a global scale, but happens in Nigeria as well, and spreading gradually. It's an increasing trend, especially among those companies who are involved into global businesses. So by staying in line with this company, with these policies, you will always be in a better position to stay ahead of everybody else. And by developing a better relationship with your existing customers, it's also going to help you promoting your entire product range. And that's, again, going to lead you to increasing the sales volume of your company. Now, I would like to show you a few examples of customer stories that are already there. The first case is Seplat. I believe many of you are familiar with this company. They operate in the oil and gas sector, and they have adopted a vendor as their supplier verification method. So whenever a company works or wants to work with Seplat, the first thing they need to do is to register in vendor, be verified by Dun Bradstreet, and once they are verified by us, they become eligible for Seplat to work with. As you can see, this is a screenshot, but you can visit Seplat's website by yourselves, and you can see that they have included this information in their own website, and even from there is a link from where you can start your registration process. Another example is Kayode Electric. This is, again, as part of the onboarding process. Any vendors working or wanting to work with the Kayode Electric first have to be verified, and once they are verified, they can start working with the Kayode Electric. So I'm not going to take more of your time. I think the benefits are really clear, but in case you have any other questions or comments, please share them with us in the questions and answer section. We will come back to you on all of them. Now I would like to hand over to my colleague Chinuke, and she will show you how to start the registration process. So Chinuke, so to you now. Can you share your screen? I think I have to stop sharing mine.
Yes, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chinuke, and I am the head of customer service for Dun Bradstreet in Nigeria. I will quickly be showing us how to go about registering on the Vend-R platform as a vendor, in order to be able to be seen by companies that are currently working with us, and to get the DUNS number certificate that can be used with several other companies that may not even be listed on the platform. Can we all see my screen?
No, we cannot see your screen, Chinuke. I cannot see it.
Okay.
Let me try to.
How about now?
Now we can see it, yes.
Okay. So as a vendor that wants to register, we will send you the registration link, and then when you click on it, this is what you get to see, and you can register here as a fresh vendor. Now you are required to provide this information. For this exercise, I will be registering an imaginary company. Let me put it like that. ABC Corporation. I hope you can still see my screen and hear me.
Yeah, we can see you too.
Okay. We are required to provide some basic information at this stage. And after providing that information, I'll take us through the process. So you can just flow with me. And if you have any question at any point, please feel free to post your question in the question and answer chat room, and we will attend to it in due course. Company registration number. That's basically your CAC number. Company incorporation date is the date the company was registered with CAC. The date is also captured on your CAC certificate. Vendor sales turnover. This is the annual revenue for the company, and we have different categories. If the revenue is below 5 million, between 5 and 20 million, and if it is above 20 million. For this example, I'm choosing above 20 million. This password does not have to be the password to your email. You can choose any password for this registration, but the email address must be an email that you have access to, because that is where the confirmation email will be sent. You can go through the terms and conditions for the registration before you click the accept button. And then we accept and click register. So please follow the instructions sent to your email address. The confirmation link has been sent to the email address I registered. So all I have to do is go back to my own email and click once I click the confirmation link, all I have to do is come back and log in. So now I can put my email address back, because the email address is the username. And my password. And click login. The DUNS number we will issue to your company after you have completed the registration process, so you can leave this place blank. And then we input the company address. If the building has a name, we can put that. If not, we can leave the building name blank. The number, the street, country is Nigeria, the state is Lagos State. Nearest landmark, if there's any available, any popular building or a bank or something that can aid people to locate your address easily. If the company has a website, you can put that. If not, you can leave it blank. And then click continue. If at any point you have a question, you can raise a service request here. But otherwise, you can continue with the registration. Contact person, let me use my colleague, Sebastian.
Hello? Chinuke? Yeah.
Now, hello?
Hello, yeah, the sound was breaking a little bit, but we can hear you now.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you well now.
So for the product, this includes both products and services. If your company does not sell any physical product, but you provide services, it's the same process that you will go through. In this case, you will click Add Products and then type in a keyword to represent your product or services, because there's a preloaded database on the platform that is the UNSPSC code. It's an international standard code for products and services according to United Nations. And it breaks down anything that your company does, even to the lowest category. So for this example, let me use engineering, which many of us here would probably be familiar with. And then click the search button. So there are different categories under engineering. We have 53 entries here, and we have different products or services under engineering. For this case, let me choose civil engineering. Oh, okay, let me pick well control, underground engineering for communication equipment. No. Okay, civil engineering is here. Upper port engineering. We can go through all this list and select as many products and services that our company provides before we click Add Products. And then if there's no unit of measurement or production, number of production, we can just click Save so we can continue. If we also provide another line of product or services, we can repeat the process by just clicking Add Product again. Let me choose construction. And then just choose other products under construction and click the same Save. And this is added. These are added. Once we've chosen the products and services that we want, we click Submit to take us to the next stage. Now, for this place, we are requested to choose the company that had probably asked us to register, or the company that they're interested in doing business with. We have quite a number of them, yeah. But even if the company we are interested in working with is not listed, we can just choose others, the option for others. Or if any company is named, in this case, let me use the Nigerian Breweries as an example. So it has added, and then the amount to pay is displayed. At this point in time, if you choose more than one company, let me choose the ExxonMobil again, the payment for now remains the same. And then we click Make Payment. Now, Dun Bradstreet's account details are provided for companies that want to make direct transfer. You can do a direct transfer, or you can walk into any bank and pay into any of these accounts. Or if you want to do online payments, there's a payment gateway provided through which you can pay with your card. For this example, I will choose the offline payment and provide bank details for my bank that I paid with, account name, account number, the account type, and then upload the evidence of payments, most likely a payment receipt from the bank, or if you can screenshot the debit alerts you received from the bank, that would also do. Let me upload a sample document for our example here and click Submit. It brings us to where we will upload all the required documents, and then just click the green arrow to upload each of the documents. The platform accepts PDF or JPG format of files. and each document should not be larger than 5 megabytes. Some scanners may scan documents big. We can easily resize them online, or if it's not uploading, you can send them to us by email, so we can resize and help to upload from the back end. And even though all the documents are not asterisked, because we understand some new companies may not have every document, nonetheless, they are important and we're expected to provide the documents. If they are not available at the time you are registering, as long as all the asterisk documents are uploaded, you can complete the registration and then send those other documents to us via email. Three years audited reports is the immediate past 3 years that we're requesting for. So we are in 2021, we're expected to upload for 2020, 2019, 2018 for companies that are older than 3 years. If the company has not been operating for up to 3 years, please upload the ones available to you. Utility bill can be Ikeja Electric, Ecodisco, Loma Waste bill, or even the lease agreement for the building, if none of these bills are available. And once all the documents are uploaded, please click submit. If you click save and continue, it means you want the system to save what you have done because your documents are not complete yet. Once you click submit, it takes a bit of time, but not usually so long, for the system to upload all the documents and take us to the next stage. Now, this is a preview user data page where we can get to confirm that all the information we have provided from the beginning is actually correct. If there's anything we want to edit, we can quickly edit them here. Before moving on to the last stage of the registration, we don't need to provide any evidence of payment or anything here, since we've done that before. All the documents uploaded, they're also captured. And once we've confirmed all the details, we click submit. And then we come to the questionnaire page. There are about 10 questions here, and that once we answer about 9 of them, we can complete the registration. The first one says, tell us more about your company. To edit, we click this blue arrow, pencil sign, and then provide the necessary information. Doing business as or business alias, if the company has another name or a trade name that the company is known by, then we can put it. If not, we can leave it blank. Building name, just put in the address again. And for each question that we answer, we click save. The second question, contact persons, email address. If the mobile number is the same, you can just copy and paste it. And then save. Type of business, there are 3 options here, manufacturer, trader, or service provider. a service provider just choose what you do. If you represent any brand anywhere in the world, maybe your company is a franchise, or you have brand that your company provides as well, we can put them here. If you have agencies or you're a distributor, you can include that as well. Otherwise, you can just save and continue. Company turnover, that's the company revenue in a year. The currency should be Nigeria or Naira. Then total number of employees at the time of completing this registration, put 50, and then today's date, and click save. Company reference refers to clients that you have done business with within the past 6 months to 1 year. And you can give 1 or 2 examples. The name of the company, contact person, and contact number. We ask for this because we need to also check with companies that you have worked with for references. Then management of the company, add management details, name, and position. Management, let me put MD. Hello? Okay. Is the subject entity part of a group? That is, if the company has a parent company, a subsidiary, or an affiliate. We click yes, if that is correct, and provide the details of the subsidiary or parent company and all that. If it is not available, we click no. For this example, I'll click no and continue with the registration. And if the company has certifications, HSC, ISO, and several other certifications, we can put them here. If it is not available, we can leave it blank. Now, the system is saying 2 unanswered questions because I omitted 1 question here. For this reason, it is not allowing me to complete the registration. So I can go back by clicking the question that I have not completed and just provide the details for it. Start date refers to the dates that the company started operations. Some companies register and then it takes them a few years or months before they start operation. But in this case, the company started operation same day. So I'll just complete the details. Legal structure, that's if the company is a private limited company, a public limited, a business name, and the likes. VAT number for the company. These days, I think the TIN number is also used as the VAT number for most businesses. So you can just pick that and copy the same for the TIN number and save it. Now it is showing finish button because at least I've provided responses to 9 of the questions. Name of the person who has filled this questionnaire. And sign declaration. Just by clicking this box here. And that is the end of the registration. Now we pick it up from here to check all the details the company has provided, to validate all the documents you have submitted, and then to send, at the end of the day, to send a report to the client that you are registering with, and also to process the DUNS number certificates to your company. The validation process basically is what Mr. Kayode was talking about earlier in terms of credibility for your company. All the documents we request for are basically to establish that your company is credible, that your company has the authorization to carry out the business line that you carry out and to do what you do, and also to check your track record with other companies you've worked with, or if it is a new company, basically you are starting on a good note by registering and going through this process to establish your company's credibility and to be captured in this database for Nigerian businesses, and can be accessed by several companies, both in Nigeria and going forward, even companies outside Nigeria, where you get global exposure to companies that are interested in working with Nigeria, starting from the after agreement that has been signed that Nigeria is part of, companies in Africa that are interested in doing business with Nigerian businesses come to Dun Bradstreet to get reports, to get information about credible businesses that they can work with. And that is what this is about. Thank you for your time. Sebastian?
Yes, Nuke, I'm trying to share my screen again.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, I'm sharing my screen again now. Okay, so thanks a lot, Nuke. Before we finish, I would like to just launch a poll. We are almost over time, but let's give it a few minutes. The question that we are making, as you can see, is how would you like to expand your business? So we have these 4 options, like selling more to current customers or to other customers in the same sector, or would you like to diversify in other sectors, or would you like to follow all of the above approaches? Let's give it a few minutes. I noticed that there are several questions and answers that we still have to provide. Since we are shortly going to be over time, what I would suggest you is I will reply to a few of the questions that I see here, but for the rest of questions, please send an email to the email we specified at the beginning, and we will come back to you very shortly. First question I get here is it vendor portal only for Nigeria? The question is the answer is for the time being, yes, but we are working to make it shortly a portal where companies from outside Nigeria can register as well. If you have any other kind of needs, for example, to see companies from Western countries, etc., we can give you other company lists. So approach us and we will discuss your case personally. Or how can one search the registration of a company within D&B? Again, depending on what type of information do you need about the company, we can provide you with several types of solutions, from accessing online reports for companies to business lists from Nigeria and from abroad as well. I think already the poll we can consider it close. I think most companies, as you guys see, it's like 84% of companies are thinking to increase their sales by selling to both internally to main customers and to selling to more customers in other sectors and in the same sector where they operate. So I think we can end the poll now. We can show the results. It's here, and possibly we can end the session here unless somebody wants to remark something. Well, let me see. I think I would like our colleague Uomo to make some final statements. Here, Uomo is the manager of the Nigerian office. I think. Can you speak already, Uomo? Hello? I think he's just give us a second.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone that has taken time to join us. Thank our special guest, Mr. Kayode. I would like to thank our panel hosts, Sebastian, and my colleagues, Tinuke and Larry. I think at the end of this session, we've seen a lot of questions that have come through, and there are a few other questions I would like us to take home with as well. Some of it will be looking at the disruption of COVID-19. Businesses, of course, have started taking a different direction in identifying new customers because most of them are working virtually. So the question I want some of us to take home with is, are we part of any global SME verified database? How do we make companies that are looking for virtual and alternative vendors find us? So these are some of the questions I want us to take home with as well. And what steps are we taking to prepare for the full implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreements? Now, the reason I ask these questions is, I think my colleagues have mentioned it a number of times, we do get a number of clients that are reaching out to us, trying to identify companies they can work with, trying to find companies that are credible. I think our speaker mentioned thing about risk, companies that do not pose any type of reputational or delivery risk to them. And the work we have been doing in the last many years helps these companies to identify, should I say, service providers like yourselves. So once again, thank you very, very much for joining us. And I think Sebastian has put up a very nice slide in front of us. So this is just a story that data tells. If you look at this statistics, it's compelling, and it's something to really think about. And I think we'll share the slide so it gives some details to work with. But once again, thank you all very, very much for joining us. And we're very much available to answer your questions later, and very much available to provide as many services that will help your business grow. We want to expand your business, and we want to be part of that journey in the expansion process. We know that a lot of companies are under pressure to accelerate growth and to deal with the transformation and business evolution environment. So talk to us, and we'll guide you through this process. So once again, thank you very, very much for joining us. Sebastian.
Yeah, thank you, Womo. Well, I just want to repeat, thanks everybody for taking the time to participate in this webinar. As Womo said, we would like to be part of your own success. So please keep contacting us to resolve your questions. I'm sure we'll come up with an answer to you very quickly. So thanks everybody, and I think we can stop it here.